Turkey's wings, they're huge. It is Friday, the girls have gone to their dad's. I don't have to go anywhere or do anything or see anyone. I can just spend the entire day focused on my to-do list. So let's see how much I can actually get done today.
free from all ropes, fair or straight, the one who can't be contained. Wild as a stallion set free. Wind in my hair, sweet essence of me. Wild as a stallion set free. Wind in my hair, sweet essence of me.
In last week's video, I talked about how I was feeling really good, and I was really optimistic, and I was feeling really productive, and I had recovered from the previous week where I felt just like a total failure and I felt like quitting everything. And then this happened. So last week I had a real fatigue thing set in, and when a fatigue thing sets in, I tend to get quite depressed and quite apathetic, and I really wanted to quit the farmer's market. I came out of that fatigue. I started to feel less stressed and less worried about the garden, but I'm still thinking about this question about quitting the farmer's market. So I haven't done this in a long time, but I used to, when I couldn't make a decision, I would make a list, because sometimes when it's going around in your head, it's easy to you weight things differently, like weight as in like this is important and this is not important, and you weight things differently when it's in your head. When you write it down, you can be more logical about it. So I wrote down yes, should I do the farmer's market? Yes and no. So if you have a look at this, on the yes side, I like the community and it's educational for the girls. On the no side, I have it's too much work, it's too much stress, it's not enough money, it means I can't sell the truck. On Thursday, I'm completely occupied from sunrise till sunset, and on Friday afternoon, I'm completely fatigued and I can't really accomplish anything. It really changes the situation dramatically. I mean, what's not on this list is it feels like quitting. The reason I should do it is I've already committed to people that I would do it, and to pull out only 2 weeks before it starts, I would feel like a jerk. But maybe that's not really a real reason. I don't know. Is that a real reason? I guess I should put that on commitment and quitting. So the difference between those two is how it affects other people and how it affects me. It feels like I'm quitting if I do it. And how I feel about it is important. But at the same time, when I give myself permission to quit, I feel a lot less stress. I feel a big weight come off of my chest. So that list has since gotten longer. And I thought I'd go over it with you. So on the yes, I should do the farmer's market list, I ended up having 4 things. Number 1 was community. I really liked about the farmer's market that I was building a community of people who were interested in the same things that I was interested in. So basically people who like to grow weird plants, or people who are interested in unusual vegetables. Those are my people. And I really enjoyed, seeing the same people every week and chatting with them about the things I was growing and talking with people about their gardens. And people would bring things to me that they thought I would be interested in, recipes or plants or vegetables or things. I really, really enjoyed that. Number 2 on the list was it's educational, and I'm speaking about that specifically for the girls. The girls had their own table there, and they learned so much about money and about math by having their table at the farmer's market. They learned a little bit about work ethic too, about doing it every single week, about being reliable, about being on time, about being a good business person. They learned a lot of that sort of stuff as well. But the number one thing that they learned about was money, counting money, calculating taxes, and so on and so forth. I really liked that about doing the farmer's market. It was really educational for the girls. Japanese white. Number 3 on my list was that I should do the farmer's market because I'd already made a commitment. I'd already filled out the forms. I have already filled out the forms for the farmer's market. And I have already told my customers from last year that I would be here this year. And that's tied into number 4 on my list, was that I should do the farmer's market because to not do the farmer's market would feel like quitting. It would feel like walking away from something that that I really, it was hard for sure, but it just feels like quitting to start something and only do it for a year and then quit. Felt like, and I don't like to do that. It just doesn't feel good. Now, the reasons why I should not do the farmer's market, there's a lot more of those. So number 1 is it's too much work, and number 2 is it's too much stress. And it is those things. The actual farmer's market itself isn't that much work or stress. It's harvest day, the day before the farmer's market. I was starting at sunrise and I was pushing through all the way until sunset, and it was always a real rush to have everything ready to go in time. The next thing on the list was I didn't really make very much money doing it. I sat down and I looked at my finances and I did the math, and it turns out I made about $19 an hour doing the farmer's market, which isn't nothing. It's more than minimum wage, but that's only counting the 4 hours of the actual market. If I factored in harvest day into that would make it about $5 an hour, maybe $7 an hour. I don't know. I haven't done the actual math, but definitely not financially worth it. Another thing is on the I should quit list is I'm thinking of selling my truck, but I can't sell my truck if I'm going to do the farmer's market. The truck is by no means, I don't need a 1-ton dually to do the farmer's market, but I do need a truck to do the farmer's market. So if I want to sell that truck, I would need to buy another truck to do the farmer's market, or something that could tow a trailer, and then I'd have to learn how to tow a trailer, or like a big minivan. But even then, it's a bit of a tight squeeze. I had a hard time fitting everything into the back of the truck. So a minivan, I'd have to probably change a few things around. And since the farmer's market starts next week, that's a lot of things to figure out. And then also, if I want to get my camper fixed, the RV center that does the repairs, they would need me to leave the camper on the truck at their place while they were working on the camper. So in that situation, I can't sell the truck or have the truck. So the farmer's market would be preventing me from getting the camper fixed. There is always Dawn's truck, of course. There's 2 downsides to Dawn's truck. One is that it's a manual. I can drive manual, but I'm not comfortable driving manual, and it gives me a lot of stress. And then the other thing is that sometimes he needs his truck. So there's that. The next thing on my reasons why I should quit the farmer's market list is Thursday. So I already talked about that. Thursday is exhausting. And then the next thing on my list is Friday afternoon. When I do the farmer's market, it drains my energy so much that on Friday afternoon I find myself just like a zombie. And I usually just spend much of the afternoon sort of taking it easy and trying to recuperate my mental health. So I would get Thursday and Friday afternoon back if I didn't do the farmer's market. The last two things on the list are, if I quit the farmer's market, I would have more time for homeschooling. And that is really important to me this year because we've already really upped our game with homeschooling. This year, the girls are doing piano lessons, they're doing violin lessons, and they're doing horse riding. So those are a big responsibility that we've added to our plate. So as much as I'm finding the garden and the farmer's market would be a little bit easier because it's my second year, I'm adding all these extra factors in. And then the next thing that I've also added in is I want to work on my house this summer. I want to get siding on. I want to get a front porch and a back porch on. I want to get my solar panels up. That's going to be a lot of work. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to find time to squeeze that in on top of the increased homeschooling and the farmer's market. So if I drop the farmer's market, that's going to create a little bit more wiggle room in my life. So once I looked at all of those factors, then I called the woman who runs the farmer's market and asked her how difficult would I be making her life if I pulled out on such short notice. And she said, don't worry about it. You got to do what you got to do. And then I called my friend who I've been working for. She has a greenhouse, she has a market garden, and she has a booth at the farmer's market. And she said she would love it if I could work her booth at the farmer's market for her. Every year she hires someone to do the farmer's markets for her because she also has a store on the farm. And last year the people that she hired kind of flaked out on her, and she ended up having to finish out the summer herself. So if she could have someone who is reliable and familiar with the products, that actually helps her out. So not only am I helping her out, but it means I'm going to make the same amount of money working for her that I would have made if I had run my own booth at the farmer's market. So I hummed and hawed for about a week. I found it very difficult to make the decision, despite the fact that the list makes it obvious of what I should be doing. But I did. I quit the farmer's market. I decided to work for my friend instead, and I am not doing my own table at the farmer's market, which, you know, I'm a little bit bummed about it, but I think it is the right decision. I think it's absolutely the right decision. And also, it's not permanent. The farm is my passion. The farm is my dream. It's the thing that I want to do for me. And yes, the girls benefit from it, and I'm glad that the girls are having this experience to be close to nature, to be close to animals, to be seeing where food comes from. I think those are extremely valuable things, but the main reason that I do this is for me. This is something that I enjoy doing. So I'm not going to quit, but the girls' homeschooling is just, I've only got a few more years of homeschooling the girls. Bethany's already 11. We only have a few years left of me teaching them. And so I really need to kind of make that, I need to put my dreams and my passion and my thing on the back burner, and I need to put their education first. And the plan all along has been for me to world school them. And as they're getting older, the time is approaching when that would be the most beneficial for them. So the plan is to start reducing the farm over the next couple of years, and then putting the entire farming project on hold so that we can travel for a little bit. And then when we're done traveling, then I can pour my heart into it, and it can be more long-term. Whereas this right now, there's no point in investing more money and investing more time in it right now, because I'm just going to have to put it on hold anyways, because the girl's education needs to come first. So the decision has been made to put the farmer's market on hold for a few years. How do I feel about that? Mostly I feel good. It still feels like quitting, even though I know logically it's the right thing to do. It still feels like quitting. I still feel a little bit disappointed, because as great as it will be working in my friend's booth at the farmer's market, and I'll still get to see everybody, it's her stuff that I'm selling. And I have the stuff that I grow because I love it. It's very cool. It's very interesting. It has a good story. I like to tell people all about the plants that I'm growing and their histories and all of that sort of thing. The stuff that my friend grows, I just don't have quite the same personal connection to it as I have to this stuff. But that's fine. It's not a big deal. The girls they don't really seem to have strong feelings about it. They like doing the farmer's market and they like making the money, but if they're not going to be making money, then they don't want to go to the farmer's market. So we're still exploring options of to whether they could have their own booth, or whether they will work my friend's booth with me and I will pay them out of my wages. So we'll see. That is not decided as of yet. I am on the wait list for the camper repair store. So that ball has started rolling. And the girls have started doing some research to plan our travels. And I haven't really been sure whether I should talk here about the travel plans or not, because on the one hand, I know people generally, they don't want to talk about things publicly until they know it's actually going to happen. And I don't know if it's actually going to happen. We're talking about something that's like 2 years in the future, so I don't know if we're actually going to get to World School or not. So I probably shouldn't be talking about it here, but at the same time, this is an unschooling channel, and part of unschooling is process. So in theory, I should be talking about how you even begin to world school. And the way that we're beginning is with books. We're getting books from the library. We're looking at what the world has to offer, and we're writing down the things that we're interested in. And then from there, the girls are going to have to plan the whole trip themselves. That's the idea. The idea behind world schooling for me is I learned more from traveling than I ever learned in school. I learned more about how money works. I learned more about geography and history and politics. I learned so much from traveling that you can't learn in school. So the idea is that they will plan the trip. They will figure out the budgets. They will figure out the visas. They will figure out where they want to go. They will figure out what the best accommodations are going to be. They will figure out how much food is going to cost in the different places. They will figure out what the safety concerns are in different countries and where we need to be careful about keeping an eye on our bags, where we need to be careful about being alone at night, where we need to be careful, like all of those sorts of things that are part of traveling. I want them to learn it all themselves. I do feel very qualified to do this. I have traveled a lot when I was younger. I planned a lot of trips and I did most of it independently. We very, very rarely traveled with tour guides or tour buses or any of those sorts of things. So I'm confident that I'm a good teacher to walk them through this process. But also, there's a reason that we're starting 2 years in advance, because it's a steep learning curve. So the idea is first they will plan some little local trips. So this summer we're going to plan a backwoods camping trip and then a campground camping trip, and then maybe a trip a bit further that takes a few days. And also we're thinking of doing a trip to Toronto this summer. We usually go to Toronto in the winter, so they want to do one in the summer for a bit of a change of pace. So that's a lot just for this summer, on top of all the things that we already have going on. And then maybe next summer we'll do some bigger trips. And then the next year we will actually take our real trip. That's what I'm thinking anyways. But it's a long way off. And this is how it works when you're planning something like this. There's a lot of uncertainties. A lot of the times you can have a dream, and as you come up with little details, the whole thing comes apart and you have to come up with a completely new plan. So I'm gonna try and, I guess, be as honest about it as I can here, because that's the way I do things. Which is kind of scary because we're in the very early planning stages. Like, I only just talked to their father about it 2 weeks ago. So talking about it publicly feels a bit risky because, you know, failure. But I'm all about failure here. The weather is cold again. I'm holed up in my greenhouse. These things aren't quite ready to go outside yet. They're a little bit too small, and we've got like 3 or 4 days of temperatures below 10 degrees overnight. So I won't be planting much more out in the garden just yet, but maybe next week if I have time. Because we took a road trip into London the last week, where we saw, it was a really good trip actually. We saw a beaver right in the middle of the city. I really
wanted to see a beaver tail.
It's pretty funny that we come to the city and we see wildlife.
Never seen a beaver before.
Off he goes. And we also got to see the hospital helicopter land right beside our car. So this coming week we have another couple of educational things coming up. I took one thing off my plate, and now I'm like, oh, all the things I'm gonna have time for. And they're not. I don't have that much time. It's ridiculous. I am ridiculously optimistic. So thanks for hanging out with me. It's lovely to have you here. We'll see you next week. Take care.